Everybody's excited. The energy is high. We both are very thrilled to be doing this right now. I like
What
it.
you want to talk about?
Oh man, so many things, man. Actually, something happened. I read something this morning that was pretty funny, and it's just how me and you like to talk about how ridiculous like academia terminology and writing is, right? And I think a lot of it goes
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
and then part of it was science. I think there's a big part of this is science as well. And let me read you. So you know how, gosh, what is it called? Blue something. Jeff Bezos' rocket company. Blue Horizon?
Uh,
Horizon? Blue
I don't
Horizon?
know. It just blew up though. I know that.
Yes. So it blew up. This is how they classify. This is actually how in the rocket science world they classify this. It was classified as a RUD, or a rapid unscheduled disassembly. And I thought that it's the most
Yeah.
scientific way of saying massive
It
explosion.
blew up. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Or
Yeah.
rapid unscheduled. We didn't schedule this disassembly.
It is the
And it's just-
unscheduled part that makes it really bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
Because you're like, okay, rapid disassembly, I guess I get that, right? Like, I mean, you also can kind of just imagine it falling apart or people screwing it quickly. So I think
Yeah.
disassembly is also funny. But yes, the whole thing was just really,
But wasn't it also unintentional? Shouldn't they
yes,
throw in
the
unintentional?
yes.
Does that not
Unintended
belong in it?
disassembly, yes.
I don't know.
But I don't know. No, I mean, there's no great. This is just me kind of throwing this at you, letting you enjoy it. Not this wasn't needed. I wasn't expecting a great insight. Just I thought it was really funny when I read it this morning. I was
Well,
like,
I do think it's actually like problematic that we use those terms instead of just like it blew
blew
up.
up. Yeah,
I think it detracts from
rocket
like our ability
explosion.
to
Yes.
communicate. But I mean, we've been over that a million times. So
And it's hard for me to remember how many times we've been over it actually on podcast and how many times we've done it just me and you talking, because they do, cross over a lot. We
yeah,
discuss off camera as much as we do on. I thought this was kind of interesting that the University of California STEM professors, they want standardized tests back and being included in who gets entered into their stuff due to severe math deficiencies among their students. And it says, the quote was, "We now observe preparation gaps so severe that instructors must reteach middle school mathematics." So people are getting into Cal Berkeley's STEM like courses and programs,
yeah.
yes. And their college teachers are having to reteach middle school tier math. That's how bad our high schools are. We're passing people who are that incompetent. Didn't that? I don't know why we ever shifted that. Because I was reading someone else that they literally were a high school teacher, and they were saying it was like this semester, and they were like, I got approached by one of the administrators. I can't remember. I mean, they didn't specify. I guess to keep them from getting in trouble, and I was asked to if I could do something for this female senior that the first time she showed up to the class at all was 3 days before the last day of class. And they were like, can we do anything to get her to pass and graduate? And I'm like, there is something so deep, like, we are flawed.
Yeah.
And do they not realize the ramifications that if you keep pushing people out
right.
who aren't capable, then, I don't know. I have issues.
No, there's multiple thoughts about it. I think that some people go the incorrect route of thinking in the short term and
Yeah.
not and ignoring that long term problem. I know some people like I was teaching at a religious school, and the mentality was very much God will provide, right? Or God will work through it. God will work, whatever it is out. It will be okay. And I
kind of
think
almost an
that was
opposition.
sort of a
When you say that, you mean it in a not a God will help those who help them. It was almost the opposite of that, right? Like, where there's the mentality of like, yes, God will work through you as you try. It was like, right. Something magical will happen. Don't worry about it.
I view it as a sort of a removal of responsibility from oneself and onto God, which I think is the wrong way to go about it. But I think that's, I don't know, there's like an acceptance, a surrender, I suppose.
Yeah, just like,
in my mind about the whole thing. But I mean, I think it's a fairly common story. Unfortunately, I can recall I was asked to fill out a form for 2 different students that was going to give them extra testing time, right? And the form was like, okay, please explain like the deficiency and how these kids operate and so on. And the one, a girl, she just freaked out when there was a test in front of her. She knew the material. She could talk about the material. She was great. She just, when there was a test in front of her, she flipped out and she couldn't handle it. That's not a learning deficiency, right? That's, if anything, that's like an anxiety issue, right? Is the right thing to give her extra testing time? I'm not too sure. Maybe, but it
may also just be she suffers longer and still fails, basically.
Yeah. And then the other one, his problem was that he had like he had a brain issue where it took him longer to intake the information, but on tests he would output the information almost perfectly every time, right? Like he was my highest test scorer, I think, every semester I had him, and he finished quickly and he did fine. But the assistant principal seemed to think that these 2 needed extra testing time, and I was like, I don't think they do. I think there are other issues that we can deal with here. Like, if anything, the one needs more time to learn the material, not to be tested on it, and the other one just needs to relax. But neither of these are solved by giving them extra testing time. And I can remember, I'm pretty sure she did not submit my form that I filled out to the people. I think she was like, all right, we're going to go with the other teachers' forms.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I was being honest.
Yeah. I don't think these are the problems. Well, see, I think, okay, this is going to get me on a whole different bunny trail, but I think it's accurate. I think a big problem with what we do in our society is that we misdiagnose the problems for things that are more comfortable.
Yeah.
But that if you're not treating the accurate problem, then you never get the results you need to fix it. In other words, you're going to keep suffering, whatever. Like, I you see it kind of manifesting in a lot of areas, and it's like pretending like something else is the problem. Just, it's almost like if you got cancer in your lungs and you're like, that's scary, I don't like that. Instead, let's ice my ankle down and get me a cast. And it's like, okay, that could fix if you had an ankle problem.
It's not going to get better.
But it's not going to get your lungs better. It's like, it's less scary, but it's not going to fix the problem. And I just, you see that in a lot of, whether it's cultural issues or financial issues, all kinds of things. It's like, the scary part is the actual answer a lot of times takes hard work, self-reflection. You are responsible. You have to make changes. People don't they want it to be someone else's responsibility to make the change. And so they keep putting it off on these other elements. It's like, and surprisingly, over the last 5 to 6 decades, you've not had any changes, any positive. It's the same problem you've had for the past 6 decades. I don't know. It's interesting.
True. I actually got pushed an article on my feed the other day, my RSS feed that I check. It says, it's from The Guardian. It says, mother of boy who may have died in TikTok challenge urges, and number 10 or something like that, I don't know what that is, to ban social media. But basically, she's urging the government of some kind to ban social media. Like, lady, you could have stopped him from being on that, right? Like, the boy is like middle school at the oldest. You could have done something here, right? Don't be like, oh, the government needs to ban it. It's your fucking house. He's on a phone that you probably bought for him. You do the thing.
You remove the phone. Yes, you take his phone.
But I to your point, I think that's the harder thing, to accept that you are in control of the
and that the kid will throw a hissy fit at you and say, I hate you, Mom, and instead of being like, oh, nothing I can do, it's the government,
Exactly.
No, I agree.
That's been what's irking me so much lately. I find myself attuned to the issues that people naturally they get immediately defensive of, and they take some other route, and it's like, all right, put the blame on there and be angry about that thing, and I don't know, they skip the step of the internal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do have some people. No, I was just thinking. Unfortunately, I'm doing this while we record, which is bad. And I was thinking about like examples in our most recent lives of just people that we both engage with. That this is the case, and I'm like, but we can't say it on air, so I'm just like, this is a waste of airtime. I don't know why I was doing that, but I can't control my brain sometimes. What do you think? So, I guess this also kind of reflects onto, because I wasn't planning on this, but it just made me think of this. They're having all those like teen terror nights or whatever in these major cities where a bunch of teenagers like flood the streets.
Vaguely,
and then
vaguely.
Because it's becoming a pretty big issue where like a lot of people are starting to like die and get shot and get raped and all kinds. But basically, it's like hundreds of teams will go and just like basically take over the central portion of a city. And they'll just start doing like, the stuff you see on TV is like, oh, it's so cool. Like they'll drive their cars in circles while everybody's standing around and setting things on fire. And everybody's,
like random influencer fest.
Yes. Except it's just a bunch of random kids. And I mean, we're talking hundreds. Sometimes, I don't know if it's ever gotten to the thousands, but it's like huge crowds of them. Okay. And no one's actually, there's not a single adult in sight, right? There's no factor of like, telling them chill out, and big problems are happening. So they're trying to figure out how to, governments are trying to figure out like, okay, what do we do?
Cops.
That's what I mean. I just start arresting them. Yes. Like if they're teenagers, arrest them and actually punish them. Like that would be the solution. Some people have suggested.
They don't have to be in jail for the rest of their life, but like, scare them a little bit.
Make it miserable. Make the discomfort worth more than the joy that they had for, feeling cool for a night.
Yes.
Some politicians have said that they think they should start like fining the parents, because and I get why I don't think that was quite the answer, because it's like
I see some pros and some cons.
Yes, I think, and that's what I believe a lot of people have said is like. Yes, it would encourage parents to start taking responsibility, not just be like, oh, it's not my problem, go out and whatever. But it also could punish people. I mean, all parents can't, one, be alert of everything all the time.
Yeah.
And two, if some of these families are already, let's say, low income, finding them a large amount of money, probably, I mean, unless you're, trying to play a much longer game, isn't going to do anything other than make them more desperate and less capable to take care of,
On that trend, the way I was thinking of it, one of the big cons that I would see is that if you find the parents then have to pay money about this, and if they are working a job, like they're going to then have to spend more time at work and away from the kids, where they could then be actually influencing the kids, which is the point of what you would want them to do a better job of influencing. But then more time away, and it's just, I don't see it as actually even potentially fixing the problem.
Yeah. No, I agree. So that's why I kind of settled in what I think. I mean, it doesn't matter because I have zero say in the matter, but
yeah, but it's
as a solution. Yeah, theory, exactly. That's what this podcast is just us bullshitting for an hour.
Think about it.
You have to hold the people responsible, right? I mean, that's the problem with most of the like a lot of the murder and stuff and the rape that we've been seeing going on in big cities. It's been repeat like 10, 20, 30 times repeat offenders who it's like, no, just hold the people who are committing the crime responsible for committing the crime, and you would see like a 90% reduction in major crime across the country. It's real simple. Just put the people responsible in jail, and you would solve the problem.
It would certainly help. It would certainly push us a far way towards the good.
Which is crazy that's something that is common sense, and I understand the argument for why you wouldn't, because it affects certain people. It's like, too bad, like certain people shouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
when we're talking about assault and like
there's
rape,
nothing-
I don't think it's like I don't care what your socioeconomic status is. There's a certain level of evil that just like, nah, you don't get an excuse. There's no excuse. It doesn't matter. You don't get to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw a video recently. I've been watching a bunch of like the police body cam stuff, right?
It's literally the next thing.
I've been so like I tease the radicalization, right? I'm like, you can't get me. You can't get me. I'll go, yeah, you can't get me. But there was one video they showed which I thought was actually somewhat, I was impressed. So it was a 17-year-old girl who was she was at a Walmart just hanging out, doing maybe picking up mayonnaise or something, right?
Yeah.
And she sees a fake plant. She reaches into her bag for something, and she accidentally grabs a lighter that she had in there. And then, the voices, they start talking, right? And she goes over and she lights the plant on fire. And she thinks it's just going to be a small little, thing. But with all the stuff they have on those fake plants, it lights, right? It goes.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it goes up. The whole Walmart gets cleared out. Everything in there gets destroyed. No one gets hurt, thankfully. But they have all these cameras that show that she did it, right? And she just thought it was going to be a small little thing. She didn't know it was going to go. So she had to spend. So the deal they made was, because it's a 17-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
It's not a grown man assaulting a woman, right? It was a mistake, but there should be consequences, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they said she's going to spend 60 days in jail, and then be on like. It's not probation, but it's like oversight or something like that for a couple years. And what I liked was that she had to pay the owner of the store or something like that $1 million within the next 10 years, right? She was on the hook for $1 million within the next 10 years. I don't know how they made that the thing there, but
I have maybe see over 20 years, but man, over 10, like how does a teenager come up with basically an average of $100K a year?
It's a good question. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they get to the point she's paid maybe $250,000 and they're like, just keep paying and we're not going to put you in jail. Right?
Yeah,
just
that's what I assume. There's an extension.
3/4.
I bet you there's an extension period. Yeah,
I would wager so. But I like that there is some accountability, right?
Yeah.
Like. Is it a mistake that a 17-year-old made? Yes, but are there still consequences? Yes. Is it life-threatening or life-ruining? I don't think so.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the fact that there's probably, yes, like it can take up to 20% of her yearly income or something like that, right? Like,
yeah.
Because I think they do that with a lot of like government student loans. Is they have like income-based repayment where it can only take up to like, but if you make less than like $40K a year, I don't even think you pay a dime. And then anything above that, it's like you can only do a certain percentage of what you make.
And that makes sense to me. That makes sense.
I agree. And it's like, well, however long this takes, then as you go up, then you pay off more.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think that's a solid. Like you said, holding people responsible. But, okay, so you're talking about body cams, and I agree with this. For the most part, it does, in fact, show what police officers deal with on a regular basis and kind of their thinking. Usually, it more often than not, it vindicates the police officers in most interactions. I would say more often.
Okay. I'm inclined to agree with you, but I don't know for sure.
However, this one is... I put it on here because it was funny. There's a cop, and it was a trap, right? It was like a traffic trap, and he pulled this lady over and was like, "We believe that we saw you looking at your phone with your right hand as you drove by."
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
You see the what? And then he says, "Did you do it?" And he said, "Hand to God," and she raises her right hand, and it's a nub. She doesn't even. She doesn't have a hand like below the elbow.
Right hand. She's an amputee.
And then he would. The thing is, now this is my actual question I have for you: Is it legal for them to just be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Continue on with your day," or do they have to ask for like license and registration and go through that whole hubbub? Or because I know some cops are just egotistical and they won't admit.
I don't know. um, I I would be shocked if they couldn't just say, "My bad, have a nice day." It
That's
doesn't
what I
make
was thinking.
any sense to me
Right? Because
that
if I'm the cop, that's what I do. I go, oh, obviously I got it wrong.
absolutely.
Go about
Silly
your day.
me, my apologies.
Yes.
You have a great day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so I have a hard time because I do know, right? There's some people who the idea of being powerful.
This is my issue with the police and cops in general, because you're right. There are some people who enjoy the power kick.
Yes.
There are.
Then there's also people who I think act like this or react like this because they've had a day full of the, I know my rights. I know my rights, and they are hiding the phone and they are lying and they've had 95 straight people lying about what they were doing and they know that they were lying. And so then this one person and what you end up seeing is this one person. It's like, it was all this stress and just frustration building up to a point where they then do something and just, they almost won't, their brain won't let them believe like, oh, I made the mistake, right? So it's always hard for me because I do know there are cops out there who are just jerks, power hungry, jerks. But in the same sense, it is like, I know that if I was in that situation and I had to deal with people who are just blatantly being jerks the entire day, lying, doing whatever, always thinking that they get to break the rules and it doesn't apply to them, all this, it would be, I could see myself making that same mistake.
No, I absolutely could make the mistake, right? Because like you, if you notice a pattern that, hey, people have lied to me just consistently every single interaction for the past 5 days, you're gonna go into the next interaction thinking there's a high likelihood I'm gonna be lied to, right? It's normal human behavior. I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree.
No solution other than to just be aware, that that's the way it is.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any accurate personality tests that they should start doing for because I was like, I don't know if there's any that would really like catch like narcissists versus like genuinely decent people. If there was a way to catch that before,
I don't know. It's tough because I think that like there are distinct red flags that one could either overcome or succumb to, right? Like, I think of the person who was like bullied in middle school or high school, and maybe that made them like stronger and more capable in thinking, I'm not going to hurt anyone because I don't want anyone to feel like I felt. Versus the person who was bullied, and then the only way they feel good about it is through bullying others, right? Like I think unfortunately, and this is just vibes, I don't have any data. I think the people who were bullies when they were young grow up to be like well-functioning citizens for the most part. I think some go off the rails, right? Some are just abusive and mean, but I think generally they grow up to be fine.
They learn. Yes,
they do. That is what I think. They look back and they think, I shouldn't have used my power that way. Versus, I think the people who were bullied often grow up to be quite a bit worse, and they are not as well adjusted. And
I kind of agree with that. I think they eventually go, I'll show that, and they don't adapt. They don't realize the world also changed, adapted, and they're not. So they still are with that. I'll show them. They've stuck in that high school mentality, and they never got it. And it is interesting because I do wonder about that. I mean, this made me think about some people I know in my life. People who struggle with giving up on revenge. Because there's some people I know that like, I hear them talk about their plans and when they get money and that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, when I get money, I'm going to use it to show this person. I'm going to use it to harass. It's like, you're going to waste money. They don't like, without getting into I just know it won't have any impact. The other person already hates them, already thinks they're jerks, and won't regret anything. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that relationship has soured so deeply that they won't care. This person could go on, this other person, my friend, could go on to become the next Elon Musk. And the person who they're angry with that they're trying to show off to would still be like, I'm glad I'm not around that person anymore. I don't like them. And so that's always the idea, right? Is we always think I'll show them later. They're going to regret ever having, And it's like, no, that's just you not controlling your emotions. The reality is,
It is, yeah.
you got to move on. Like, that's you're only hurting yourself. You're wasting your money, your time, your emotions. You're draining yourself. It's not doing anything to them. They'll be fine.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
Revenge is tricky. I don't know. I feel weird about the whole revenge thing in general. Because, like, at least the way that, and I don't know if this is my ego talking, but all the people that have treated me wrong or done something wrong to me, when I think about them, there is no point to revenge because there is nothing I could do to them that is worse than them having to wake up every day and realize they are at the helm of their ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like
mostly that's why they're so cranky and nasty, right?
And that's
the reality. Yeah.
And that is that if it is not a living hell, they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, like, and there's nothing I can do to make, like, why would I want to make that worse first? And I couldn't if I wanted to, right? There's no way.
Yeah.
I could cause it to be any worse.
They're already unhappy with themselves, and that's the actual root problem.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Next topic. I'll read you this post, and we'll just go from there. A guy called the Fat Electrician. And he said, I'm fascinated by people that think it is deep and profound to point out you have to work for your own survival, like it's some man-made moral injustice and not the default setting for life. And because he was making a reference to a post, it's like, you're born onto the planet you never asked it to exist on. And society immediately hits you with, okay, now go earn the right to eat, sleep, rest, and have shelter. Just like, yeah, that's how it's been since, like, cavemen. Like, congratulations, you've figured out how nature works.
Yeah.
Like, you have to wake up, and then you have to either build the shelter or build, in today's society, we do work, but then we pay someone to build the shelter, but it's like,
I mean, it's the same thing as like you trade your skills and services for other skills and services. You know?
It's always been like, that's how you exist. You have to work to survive. You have to you have to go collect the berries. If you're out in it's funny, I hear a lot of people talk about these, like, before we had society, before we had and they imagine like they somehow just danced and walked through like nature and plains and wilderness and were one with, and food magically came to them. Like, there's like, no, you had to, your environment was way more uncomfortable because you're building your own home, and usually that didn't come with like well-made, well-constructed homes with air conditioning and I don't know. It's a weird, like, super high fantasy that they just.
It is. I think a lot of people have this fantasy about, like, life before civilization that is just totally fraudulent.
Yeah.
They think like, oh, happiness and joy, and it's like, okay, well, one, if you do live your life that way, you're not going to live it that way for very long. Someone's going to come and kill you, right? Someone is going to come and kill you, take your wife, and it is not going to be good for them. Second, you got to hunt for food, right? Like, I mean, the food doesn't just appear, right? Yeah. How many people starved because the crops went bad or because the insect swarm came in, right? God, what was the third thing? I don't remember.
We'll give you credit for the third. I'm sure there was a really good one. People at home, this is write in the comments below what was the third one? Yeah, what would have been a third bullet point there? That now will make it big in our audience interaction. Congratulations. Good job, Placebo. Wink, wink. But yeah, I had a thought there too, and I thought, man, I'm getting old. Okay. trying to decide which one of these I want to go. We kind of talked about this a little bit before, but I think we talked about it off podcast, off camera. So we'll kind of go back and touch on it a little bit. So I will read the first post and then the reply to that post, which captured the first one. Okay. First one. My most unhinged run-in with HR, human relations, or human, I think so. No, human
resources.
Resources. was while working at a biotech company as a senior scientist a long time ago. They were doing, this is the one I told you about. They were doing racism audits. And me, being Asian, they targeted me in an Inquisition-style interrogation. In essence, it was about 30 minutes of them, Gen Z women with a chip on their shoulder, trying to make me say that I experienced racism at the company. It was them framing every little comment, quip, joke, and conversation that my white co-workers had with me into some sort of racist dog whistle. They wanted me to out my work friends as racists so that HR could crucify them. I knew they were recording the whole time, so I had to be very careful with my words. I kept my answers to brutally short, usually with a single word answer of no, or I would say that lacks context, that's misframing, etc. They were literally trying to manufacture problems to go after people to justify their existence, and this is where we'll kind of head with this. They were trying to goad me to exact the right answer, quote unquote right answers, the answers they wanted. And since I refused to play their stupid game, after that interview, they went and found other people, other targets to interview to try to like get the answers they wanted, because I wouldn't give it to them. Now, somebody replied to this. Basically, HR is your enemy. Never meet with HR unless you absolutely like just don't. Try not to. Basically, if you can, record every interaction, but preferably keep it in writing. I think that's actually a good idea, right? If not in writing, follow up the meeting with an email recap of the meeting to document everything. He put this. I don't. I mean, maybe true, but never date a woman who works in HR, no matter the company.
Okay.
I think that was just his personal.
That's
that
just spite.
That was just it doesn't matter if you have the facts on your side. Facts do not matter. That was basically his
Amen. Amen.
So I think all except bullet point 4 were fairly good advice.
I think the key there is they are your enemy, and you
Yes.
should treat them as your enemy.
Yes, they're supposed to be there. It's interesting how they start, because it was trying to just make sure that companies stayed within certain regulations. But I think what the original poster started to get into, that we've talked about before, they realized that they wanted more money and they wanted more influence, so they had to justify their existence. That means there needs to be all these problems to fix.
Right.
There's always got to be a crisis. There's always got to be something that's going on. And that's where HR departments really started just going off the bandwagon, off the train tracks, right? They went from actual helpful institutes that were filled with people who were just trying to make everything run smoothly into we need to make it seem like this is the most dysfunctional company ever, so that I have to be here to save the day. Aren't I important? Give me a raise, keep me employed. Also, I need to hire 5 of my friends because there's too much work for me.
I completely agree with that. I think there's also an element of some like weird psychology at play, because I know I think a lot of people in HR would tend to view themselves as sort of a middle manager or something like that, right? Like they are sort of in charge of this group of people, right? Because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to manage this group of people and make sure things are going. I think that have you ever heard of the Stanford prison experiment, where they took like a bunch of people and made half of them guards, half of them prisoners, totally at random, and then before long they had to shut it down because the guards were like actually like beating the prisoners and treating them horribly. I think there's an element of like the power gets to people in this, if that makes sense. That
very few people can handle power. I think that is an accurate statement of humanity. Everybody thinks that they would be great in a position of power and that they would do things different, but it's like in reality, most people, when you get power, you don't have this. Well, I think especially so in our current social, cultural zeitgeist right now.
It's brutally hard now, I think, right?
There's so little introspection that you just, you become really awful quickly.
Any good with power or in any position of leadership, you have to care about like the mission of the group or the organization more than yourself. And as much as people say that they do, I think maybe 1% of people actually do that.
No, I agree with that. I think that, kind of talked on this before, but just like our society has gotten so we have perverted individualism, right? It used to be individualism with a social awareness and a social responsibility. We are now just pure, unadulterated, hedonistic individualism. No restraint. Just you do what's best for you. There was
this image of like all of us holding our end of the stick as we're holding the thing up. That was what individualism started as here. This idea, because the social elements were baked in from before. We had accepted those already, so no one made any guardrails for those. Everyone was like, no, we're going to give people individuality. And then we went so far that direction that we've now it's not like we're holding anything up. We're just all fighting each other for whatever's left.
Whatever's laying on the ground. There's nothing even up anymore. We're just scrapping over whatever fell down. So I guess that's where I kind of think a lot of this comes from. It's just people can't process.
It's so difficult, but so freeing to actually give a shit about the other people around you and the good of the community you're in.
I agree, and isn't that just one of the biggest? Maybe that's one of the biggest lies that the current, I would say, millennials and Gen Z have been fed. Is that somehow like actually caring about the people around you and worrying about their welfare, even maybe sometimes at the cost of your own comfort or your whatever, is actually it's a positive for your life. It is actually a good thing for you. Yeah. Long term, you will get more enjoyment, more satisfaction out of life if that's the approach you take. I think so much has been sold to like, I'm gonna get mine, or I'm a bad bitch, right? You know, like this whole like mentality of just hyper self-centered
alpha mentality.
Yeah, alpha. Yeah, for the men. Yeah. I'm the alpha. I get mine. I take what I need.
It's the same thing as bad bitch mentality. Right?
Yeah, it's the male version.
Both of them are just comically ridiculous, but people buy them.
And it's like, I don't know. Then that leads into what I talked about the other week, where we were talking about streamers, and I think streamers do the same. They just, they don't think about the impact of how what they're doing to their audience psychologically matters. They think just about like, how much money am I making off of this? How am I making? What about my life? What about my life? And then some at least have enough morality and morals to lie to themselves about what's going on, whereas others just probably don't even care. They're fine with it. They know that they're dishonest and they're okay with they don't mind.
Sad.
So, well, yeah. Here's Zuby. So he was saying that a significant percentage of Gen Z's anxiety comes from talking on the phone. Oh, we talked about this, but I don't think we talked about, I think we didn't talk about this on a recorded podcast. We talked about this off, so I'll be okay. Let me go back. A significant percent of Gen Z's anxiety, or they get anxiety from talking on the phone, sustaining eye contact, cooking, driving, and other basic everyday tasks. And then he said those who don't fall into this category will completely dominate those who do. They might end up being the most bifurcated generation because there's going to be just a drastic separation, which that blows my, like, I've never been super socially, I'm not awkward, but I'm also, I used to not like to talk to people. I mean, I think everybody gets a little bit of like, you're just engaging with somebody.
Yeah.
But there is a point where you've got to be able to, be functional on the phone. I think there's actually, when they talk about this, I think they actually mean people like genuinely freak out that they have to call a company or an organization, and it's like.
No, so at the fire meeting the other day that I was at, the orientation for the fire academy, they were talking about what they were doing, and they said, look, if you need anything, please call me. Here is my number. But look, you guys are going to be out there saving lives and, like really responsible, high-level stuff. Do not have your mom call me. Do not have your grandmother call me. Do not have your wife call me.
Yeah.
You call me, right? And I was sitting there, I was like, this is so sad. Like, this is remarkable that this is having to be said.
What's crazy, I saw there was a pretty big poll of major corporations that they had been hiring people, right? and it was close to 50% of Gen Z had their parents come with them to the job interview.
It's insane.
That is insane. Like,
we gotta do better, man.
Not function. They are not adults. You're not. I don't care your age. You are not an adult.
Child. I agree.
If you can't function without someone else doing your talking for you, and then like they would say they do this too. Like if they had like a HR meeting or something, they would, or if they wanted to ask for a raise, they would call their family member and have them come in and do it. It was like, man, we failed a generation aggressively.
No, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. So I help with the Scottish American Highland Games, right, for Central Florida. And part of what we do is with the extra money we make in a year, which is not much. This year, we spent $700,000 on the event. And do you know how much money we made from it? We made $50 total. We were like $50 in the green.
Profit, yeah.
That is how tight the margin was, right? So, but with any extra, we do scholarships, right? For kids who are going to college, for arts or sport, whatever. And as part of that, they come and they explain what they are using it for, right? We're like, here is $2,000. Please tell us about what you're doing. And they'll tell. And so we had 8 or 9 kids show up that were going to college. And all they had to do was stand up and like talk with one guy who was just talking back to them. So like, you're in criminal justice. What you looking to do with that? And then they say, oh really? Oh, defense or prosecution? What do you think? And where do you want to go with this? Right. And do you know how, out of these, I think 8 kids, how many of them would I classify as very socially awkward?
You said 8 or 9? 8. Yeah, I was going to say 8.
All 8 of them. There was not one person who went up there that could have just a conversation with this person.
Yeah.
Just a conversation. They can't do it. I agree with you that we've failed them horribly and miserably. And it's 100% on the parents, and I have zero sympathy for them.
Yeah. I don't know. Do they not make them still do like public speaking and school courses anymore? Or because you were most recently a teacher, so
it was not a requirement. It is an elective, so they can go through the whole thing without doing any public speaking.
Because I remember in my high school, we at least had to, like, it was like we'd have to make a presentation to the class. It may have been a small paper, like a 5-10 page paper, and we'd have to give like the summary of it or whatever. But we did it was usually in a history class or something. Like it wasn't like we never took like, there were speech classes, but we didn't have to take but in some of the classes we did have, it was like a requirement that at least one of the assignments you would orally present your findings.
In my opinion, the good teachers will throw something in there like that, but it's not mandatory. You can totally just go by without it.
I want to say I do agree with you. It is primarily on parents. Like, it is the parents' responsibility to make sure your kids are functional adults. But secondary, it would be nice if some classes did, like you said, have some teachers that would recognize that this also is a functional part of being. It's supposed to be training kids to be functional adults to a degree, and that is a part of it, is being able to confidently speak in front of other people. What do you think has caused, let's just say Gen Z for the sake of, what do you think has caused them to fear speaking with other people so much? What? Because no one's comfortable, but to be afraid of it.
The comfort of being behind a screen is intoxicating, I think. I think texting has
they don't even want to call it.
A level of distance that they feel comfortable there, so that, I mean, I think there's
it's protected. You feel protected with it.
Yes, you want to be polite in a human interaction face to face with another person, but like prior to having this very comfortable area over here, it was just like, maybe a medium level of discomfort to be with another person talking. But I think now it's exacerbated, and you feel like it's so far away from what you're comfortable with and what you want to do. I think it's just technology and
people just aren't comfortable in their own skin, I suppose. Like
that I know is true of the young, high school and below. At my school there were 200 people. I can think of maybe 14 or 15 that I would say are actually comfortable in their own skin of those 200. Um, I cannot explain how much of the damage I think that has been caused by Instagram and picture influencing on these people.
Yeah.
I think, everyone is comparing themselves to the best person in the world at whatever it is,
Right.
at everything, right? If you are not the ultimate top level anything when you're 8, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But that's how they feel, genuinely.
Yeah, I was trying to think,
I think that is what is within them.
It was funny. I was somewhat socially awkward and a shy, like in middle school. I wasn't horrible. Like I could talk. It was like once I got comfortable around people, I was good. But I did struggle because I remember there was one time I didn't even do a presentation because I was afraid to speak in front of the class. Now that changed over time as I grew in confidence. And I would say as some teachers forced me to do it. So here, just you do grow in confidence by. I had one kind of let me do it in front of her first, right? And that helped because then I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with speaking in front of one person, and I knew how the process went. And then it kind of helped me grow into multiples. But I mean, even when I was in college, no one loves giving an oral presentation, but I think it does. The more you do it, the less fear you have of it. And I was just trying to think of how I developed, because eventually I did kind of like, and it's funny, maybe it's because I'm observant, but I noticed that the people who seemed to be the coolest to get the chick were just, they were confident. They were like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable in my skin. I started noticing that. I was like, maybe the option isn't being like, someone will understand that I am the beautiful flower that will one day blossom.
Right, right.
It's like, no, just be you. You're going to make mistakes. That was the other thing. Just because it's okay. The cool guys make mistakes too. You just play it off like, hey, I screwed up. It's like if you don't care about the mistake and you don't care about it, it doesn't. Everybody might tease you for a little bit, but if you really don't care, they'll get bored with teasing and they're done with it.
100%.
And it's just like, oh well. I mean, look at our podcast. We obviously don't care.
Yeah. I can remember I was sitting in English class in high school, and behind me there was a guy named Jacob, right? And Jacob was a skinny little fucking twerp, right?
Yeah,
but he was popular.
Yeah.
People liked Jacob because he was like casual and laid back, right?
Yeah.
I think he got in trouble for like having a threesome with some girls in the bathroom one time. That is how liked he was, right? And I can remember sitting in there, and he's behind me, and I turn around, and he has like a tissue held up to his face, and the whole class is like turned to look at him for some reason. He popped a like pimple on his face, and it started to bleed or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought this would have absolutely destroyed
me. Yeah.
90% of the people at this school. And I can remember he had everyone on his side within seconds. I forget how, but someone was like, why are you holding up a tissue to it? And he was like, oh yeah, let me just use my finger and invite it to come back immediately. Why don't I? With all the oil on my finger or something.
Yeah.
And everyone thought it was the funniest shit and was all on board. And I was like, man, he's not especially athletic. He's not especially smart. He's not especially good looking. There's just an energy about him.
Yeah.
That is comfortable,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, somehow, and yeah, like I said, it was just like I think that was this thing for men as well, like being confident, and not like braggadocious, not like machismo, because I think machismo, especially fake machismo, is just bull, right? I would have punched the shark and saved my child. That nonsense, right? Like no, you wouldn't. You got eaten by a shark.
Go get some skills that you can feel good about and be like, I have some positive traits that I can sort of rest upon, and then just move forward. And if people don't like you, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's their mistake.
So, yeah, I was going to say, I do think just being positive is such a massive, like just being confident and being like, sure, whatever, it's such a benefit in life. Because, I mean, I think you see that with like, even snarky CEO, like nerd. Like I'm thinking even Bill Gates or I mean Bezos is kind of a nerd if you think about it. Zuckerberg and some of these guys,
Zuckerberg's a major nerd.
Super nerd. But they, they kind of got a little bit of a swagger in that they're like, yeah, I know I'm the shit. Like I know I'm a billionaire. Yeah, I got money, and he's out there flying with his flag as he uses what's that little board that you can like stand on, it goes above the water, and if
like
you do this,
board,
like he uses that. It's like if you do this with it, it makes it like auto propel. If you like push your foot down on it, do you know what I'm talking about? It's almost like
not really, no.
So there's there's something underneath the water, okay, and then it goes up through like it's basically a surfboard on it. This I don't know what the surfboard here. Then there's a like pole that goes down about 2-3 feet, and then underneath there's like almost like a fin, if you will. It looks almost like a shark fin or something, right underneath the water. If you step on it and you do it quickly enough, it like keeps you above the water. You can like self-propel. It's almost like swimming. It basically does this motion. But you never get into the water. That way you don't have to like sit in the water and try to wait for a wave or wait for somebody to pull you. You can just self-propel and it goes forward. Anyway, he was riding. I remember just seeing, the reason being I remember seeing this the 4th of July a few years ago. He was so proud of it. You could just see, he was like, yeah, I'm fucking doing it, man. Look at I'm cool. I'm in the middle of the ocean. I'm rich. Life is good. And you just, it's like such a nerd, but he got, got him a nice, loyal Asian wife and the family. He's good. His life's good. He got a nice house. He got a nice company. I mean, it's like his life's pretty good. And you just go, that's a lot of that is. I mean, we talk about. I think Elon's maybe a little too arrogant. I'm with you on that one. I think sometimes he trusts himself too much, especially with this like AI and the. What's the thing that goes in the back of the head?
The chip.
Neuralink. Neuralink is what. I think he is way too confident in like how that technology is going to play out, and that he's going to have some sort of like ability to control how it manifests in reality. But he basically impregnates anybody he wants. I mean, you got to think Trump. You got to think Bezos. Bezos is banging everybody, all his friends' wives, just because he's, I'm the man. I got to feel like I'm the man. And
I'm sure some of that confidence comes from the money and the attention.
Yes,
right?
the already success. But I do think, I think to even try some of these ventures, you do have to have a certain level of confidence that, like,
absolutely,
I'm going to be able to make this succeed. I will be able to do this. And so, I just think that I do think having a certain level of confidence is very vital to life success. I think if you always think that you're pathetic, you will always be pathetic.
I agree.
So it's like you don't want to get cocky, but you want to, you want to have that like, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I got this. There was one more post I wanted to talk to before we end the thing. It was because it was kind of getting back to what you talked about earlier, people being kind of depressed and anxious younger. This was a younger person who was writing this, and it said, I have been permanently damaged by antidepressants, all while being told my entire adult life that they were harmless. Doctors who hand this stuff out like candy will say screw all the way off. And I was reading somewhere else, and I wish I had it saved. I know it's there somewhere else. It was talking about, there's a lot of studies that have been coming out now showing that the original studies they put out, it's kind of like the pharmaceutical companies. They're like, oh, here's our study that gets this put out where everybody takes it or whatever. And it was shown that those are really like, they're short term. They're just basically, they're not good. They're not accurate.
Yeah.
The more time we've had with them, the more it's shown that, one, they don't even do their job. They actually make people usually more depressed than they do. It's like a temporary relief, like the chemical version of it. It's like it's not it almost like it has the highs and it makes the lows lower, basically. But also there are some long-term lasting chemical effects that go on in the brain when you're on them for a long time. And now where doctors have just been like, oh, you feel sad today? Well, here's a version of a drug. And it was funny because I saw last night, while they were playing, a bunch of streamers were playing the AT&T Annihilator Cup, right? and they were all talking about. Some of them were talking about mental health, but like, I remember Double Lift was like, well, that I was prescribed Adderall, and I was playing League of Legends on Adderall, and I didn't notice any difference. But the other two guys were like, oh man, when I was playing shooters on Adderall, man, I could go for 12, 24-hour streams, and I was just hyper focused and woo, and and Hutch still is kind of. I wonder how many of them actually need it, or or they just like the hyper-focused feel. But almost everybody was like, oh, yeah, we've taken Adderall before. It was, like, common amongst all these streamers that they've all been not only prescribed, but they've taken it pretty much ad nauseum, Adderall. Yeah. Adderall is basically a slightly tweaked version of
pretty
meth.
Close to meth.
Yeah, it's basically meth. And it's crazy that we're just shoving this in everybody. The second you're like, well, I struggled focusing a lot the last couple of weeks. Instead of like, have you been getting sleep? Are you eating too much sugar? Have you been drinking? How many monsters do you drink a day?
Right.
We're like, oh, here, take meth instead. And it's like, yeah, this has long-term effects on your brain. Like,
no doubt. I mean, anytime you mess with the chemistry in any of your body, like your body's going to respond to the change, right?
And sometimes not positively, yeah.
No, in fact, often quite poorly.
Usually,
in the long run, right? Like, the more you outsource your bodily functions, the more you're going to need to continue to outsource your bodily functions.
Yeah. I mean, I've often talked about that with my testosterone. Like, the reason I have to take testosterone now is because when I was younger, when I was in my, like, early 20s, really, more than... maybe 19, 20, 21, 22, somewhere in that range, right? When I obviously had plenty of testosterone in my body, I was still working out for like football and stuff. And at the time, androtesting, HCG, HGH. All these, I think ACH, I can't, but I know androtesting was. It was over the counter. If you were over 18, you could walk into a GNC and they just had andro on the pick it up. There's all kinds of that type, what is now considered like a part of the like steroid stack that is even the most it's more harmful than test. It's like the crazy part of it was just over the counter. And so I was like, oh, this is what Mark, and that was when Mark McGwire was like hitting all the home runs and came out, it wasn't seen as bad. It was like, oh, this is what they're taking. Oh, this is a good, healthy, whatever.
It's
so
you're
supplement, like, yeah, it's a supplement. That's exactly it. It was a supplement. It's like vitamin oil. It's the same thing.
Right.
And so I'm like taking them.
You take your fish oil, you take your human growth hormone.
Yeah, it's exactly
you put those two together and
you're good. And so I did start taking it. I mean, it was fairly costly, but I still was taking it for a while. And I do think later on, I mean, obviously at the point in time, I was benching 400 pounds. I could, I was.
Oh, yeah, you're a beast, right?
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah. The thing is, I was always athletic and fit before. Like, it wasn't like I was floppy and weak before that. I mean, I was all conference in high school, long before I ever started taking andro testing. Even in high school, football as a 200-pound offensive guard, which is not big, as you know. I think even you would know for football because you live in the South. On the offensive line, 200 pounds is not heavy, right? But I was still fit and strong enough that I was able to be all conference, right? But it definitely pushed me to the next step. My point being, then later in life, when I'm in my 30s, you feel you're just like, man, I have zero motivation. No matter what it was, is I was going down to like 1,200 calories a day trying to lose weight, and I was not losing a shred of weight. Like over multiple months, 2 or 3 months, I was like I was like, why can I not lose weight? So I saw a doctor, and she was like, well, let's test your testosterone. She tested, it was like below 100, which is like not healthy. And so that's when she's like, well, we got to start, supplementing. Hopefully we can get you going back again on your own, but chances are this is what you're going to be doing. And I always think back to that, but like that probably is what overstimulated the system.
It almost certainly played a part, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because I mean, I had facial hair when I was 13. Like, there's pictures of me as a 13-year-old in like Babe Ruth, and I had like a bit of a goatee already, right? So I started out with a pretty high like testosterone, which that's not all testosterone, right? That's also just genetics for hair growth, but
absolutely.
But I had testosterone when I was a child, so it wasn't like from birth I had none. It was a later development that it ran out, and I think that's where it came from. It's just over medication, and I just think there's a lot of people who are doing that with their brain now, and that's why we have
completely.
I mean, we have astronomical numbers of psychological disorders now in the U.S. Like crazy numbers. Well, crazy numbers. Pun intended. But you know, it's like, well, yeah, because we've been when they're 13 and their parents are giving them, you know, Snickers bars in their lunches and Pop-Tarts for breakfast, and then they can't, you know, stay still in their seat.
Yeah.
We're like, what do we do? Let's shove them full of meth. And then we're like, I can't believe they're depressed.
Yeah.
18, that's, wow, must be so, who knew what it would be? You know, why are they confused about life? You know, it's like, well, yeah, you're fucking with their brains since they were like developing. It's no wonder they're crazy. Sorry, that was my rant. I felt good.
You're good, man. I completely agree. I think a huge amount of these disorders are not. I think a lot of people are just like, I am sad, and it's much. I truthfully, I think a lot of them like being able to say things like I'm depressed or I have an anxiety disorder, because it gives them an excuse for everything.
Yeah.
For anything out there, they can say, oh, I'm not on my meds today, and it gives them this ultimate trump card for whatever bad thing they feel like doing. Oh, I'm off my meds today.
If they're mean to somebody, it's not my fault.
My buddy tells me every single day about some kid that was acting up, and when he pressed the kid, like, what are you doing? We don't do that. What the hell is wrong with you? The kid goes, oh, well, I'm off my meds today. I haven't taken my meds. It's like, oh, okay. Go ahead. Like, what do you expect, right? But
yeah,
I think a lot of people, I know a lot of parents who say that. Oh, well, my kid needs to take their medication, or this goes wrong. And then they start chiming in with that rhetoric, and then the kid absorbs that rhetoric.
Yeah. Learns that's the get out of jail free card. Yeah.
Now, as soon as that kid doesn't take their medication, the placebo kicks in immediately, and they are off the walls. Like, they're like, I'm just crazy by default. I'm mentally insane.
No, I agree. Kids pick up stuff.
Syndrome.
They absolutely learn that. Yeah.
And any excuse you give them, they'll pick up.
Yeah.
Any excuse at all.
Well, it's even like when you have real young children, like 2, 3, 4, and they fall. And if you're like, this is
fine, get up, let's
they'll
go.
be fine. They won't cry. But if you're like, oh my God, are you okay? They'll learn to cry, and you know. It's funny because you can, even if they start crying, sometimes you can like give them an ice cream real quick, and then like it just goes away, or you know what I mean. Like you can trick them by doing something else.
Right. Here, it's the kiss, right? Like, all right, I'm gonna kiss it, make it better, right?
Well,
like, you do a thing that doesn't actually do a thing, and then you trick them, right?
It's because they've learned. You know, they pick up on your signals a lot of times. It's like, I'm supposed to cry here, or when I cry, I get attention. This works.
I think it's one of the best parts of Band-Aids. You put the Band-Aid on the wound.
Yeah.
They don't see the wound. They think it's healed.
It's gone. It no longer exists. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. We just need psychological Band-Aids now. Well, that's what.
We just need people to be good humans. Just own your shit.
Well, we've had about 8,000 to 10,000 years of us trying, hadn't got it right yet. So I guess
you got to be able to like lay down in bed, sit with sit with your thoughts, and be okay. And if you have thoughts that are like, I don't like this, I don't like that, that doesn't mean you have an anxiety disorder. That doesn't mean you have depression. It just means it's just normal. Everyone does this.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of stuff. It's like, well, okay, then fix it. I think that's the other thing, right? Like we've almost gotten like, well, I don't like this, and it's like a lot of those things are fixable. I don't like that I am not smart, or I haven't made this grade, or it's like, well, you can fix that, you know. I don't like that I'm overweight. I don't like when people make fun of me for being overweight. It's not easy, but you can fix it, you know.
Yeah.
Like me, right?
People love being the victim, man.
Yeah.
People love being the victim.
Well, Siebers, I think you did a good job. I think we've covered it. We went about an hour. We've given the people enough they can conversate with their friends about these topics now. Now they can write into our Instagrams and our YouTubes about how wrong we are, and they can tell us how they know more and they are wise and we are dumb. And I will appreciate every one of those comments, even if they do call us dumb. That's fine. Please keep doing it.
We are dumb. but
Yeah.
so are the commenters.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this isn't one of those shows where we come with which we were supposed to do, but I'm lazy and I even forgot about the idea at all. But we were. So tell me about this. Okay, anybody who's stuck around? Stuck around. Tell me what you guys think about this. Actually, comment on this. We were thinking about maybe going and getting like 4 or 5 peer researched studies or research things, and then just like reading them and discussing them, and then that being where we get, instead of me just randomly giving social media topics, because I do think at some point in time we are kind of like regurgitating, because there's only so much you can talk about with social media, unless you're willing to get into like news, unless we're really just start digging into like politics and news
this week.
Yes. I think that maybe the idea of, because we do have access, or at least I do, and I think I could always give it to Placebo, so we have access to genuine like research journals, and maybe we could read those and discuss various ideas that are espoused in those and see how that goes. So yeah, I think that'd be cool. Let me know what you think. And thank you for following, subscribing. I can't remember all the terms because I also stream and I don't remember what's video. Thank you for TikToking, for tweeting, for billy bobbing and dancing. Love you all. Kiss 'ems. Good night. We leave you alone.